Hey everybody, my name is Teacher Will, and welcome to our next featured guest for Insight. If you don't know what insight is, it's a deeper appreciation of something or someone. And you might ask the question, hey Teacher Will, what's the purpose for doing these types of videos? How can it help me improve my English? Well, listen, by listening to Insight videos, you can hear someone talk about grammar and collocations and idioms and using English in everyday common usage. So, if you like what we're trying to do in terms of Insight videos, that not only is important for that, but representation is important. And to change the face of English, click on that subscribe button, hit notification. Now, with that being said, our next featured guest, I'm very honored to call a friend, a colleague, and a mentor. They speak Spanish, English, and Portuguese. They are a teacher and they've done tons of videos. So I highly recommend that you check out their content information. Want to know who our next guest for Insight is? Check it out.
Hey, Will, it's English teacher Monica here. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this incredible project of yours. I love the idea and the concept of learning together. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the questions. So, the first question: what time do you usually wake up in the morning? I wake up around 5:30 in the morning every morning, even on the weekends. And I wish I could sleep later, but I don't know. My body's just used to it. What's your favorite food? My favorite food, I don't really have a favorite food. I love everything: Chinese food, Mexican food, Middle Eastern food, American food. Just as long as it's cooked well and it's not going to make me sick, I'll eat it. What's your favorite color? Purple. What's your favorite day of the week? I think Friday because it's the last day of the work week going into the rest, the restful weekend. So probably Friday. Maybe Sunday too. It's a close tie. What's your favorite movie?
Okay, like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain on our resources? And it's like, when I had this garden.
Clueless. I love that movie. It's old school, but I love it so much. I think it's because it's lighthearted, it's funny. It's just like one of those movies that's so ridiculously unrelatable, like the lifestyle that these girls live, that I don't know. And all the girls like growing up in my generation were obsessed with that movie. So, I think I'd be considered a 90s generation. I don't know. What's your guilty pleasure? Working. As sick as that sounds, I actually love working. Not at the college, like I can do without that. Working online, I love it. I love it so much. And I feel like work should be separate from like pleasure, at least according to American culture. But for me, I love it. Okay, let's see. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? Like, a superpower. Maybe, I think flying would be cool. You wouldn't have to pay for plane tickets because they're so expensive. Maybe flying. I don't know, but I'm afraid of heights, so maybe I wouldn't want to fly. Who is the one person you would like to meet? I have one person in particular that I would love to meet. A friend of mine that I have been friends with for a really long time. I met online while I was, teaching and also learning other languages. And to this day, we still have not met. And, sort of like us, like me and you, or like, Teacher Muhammad or Teacher Reza, we've all met online, but we've never met in person. So I have someone like that. It's been many, many years. And, one day, what's the biggest misconception about you? There's a lot. When I was in college, I was told by my professor that I should change the way that I talk because I sound like an airhead. I got an A in the class, and she was shocked when I gave a presentation about stocks and bonds because at the time I was completing my finance degree and I was working in a financial firm. So I was actually really educated about those things. But apparently, the way that I speak made me sound like an airhead. And she said I would do well to change the way that I talk. To this day, I have not taken her advice. I think it was terrible advice. And so that was a really big misconception that I'm stupid. I think that is actually probably one of the biggest misconceptions about me, that I'm stupid. As, like, in the US, blondes, I feel like I've been told by a lot of people that I should actually have blonde hair and not brunette hair. Whatever. Why do you think English is important to learn? It's the lingua franca, I think that's what you call it, the world language. I think it's important for communicating, among different nations, business. At the moment, like before Greek was like the lingua franca, or Latin at one point. So it changes with time. Right now it's English. 50 years from now, maybe it's Chinese. I actually would love to learn Chinese because I think, things are going in that direction. What are some of your favorite English words? Words that have like information, or suspicious. And I think it's because I speak Portuguese, and there is a city in Brazil. It's a huge city, de Janeiro. But they speak Portuguese in a way that has a lot of sh. And I find it so beautiful. So the group of people are called, the group of these people is called Carioca. And these are people who are from, in Portuguese, you say Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro. And whenever they say the S sound, like, for example, casas. Okay, so in Spanish you say casa, which is house. In Portuguese, casa. And in Carioca, it's casas, like plural, casas. Everything is sh. And I don't know, I just find it so beautiful. So English words that are like sh, English, I just like it. Let's see. Tip suggestion you would give to someone to improve their English. Okay, so I have a few. One, to improve your listening and pronunciation, listen to music. Real quick tips. Music is great for learning English, especially if you want to learn how to listen to the way that native speakers speak English, because we don't speak like the textbooks, nor do we speak the way that English is written. So, listening to music is a great free tool that you can use to learn English. Let's see, what else? Oh, you need to speak. That would be maybe the number one tip, not number two. If you want to become fluent and speak English, you have to speak English. You cannot think that by watching TV or, just listening all the time, that you're going to be fluent. It doesn't work that way. You have to actually you have to actually use the language. Okay. Why did you become a teacher? So prior to becoming a teacher, I mentioned that I was getting my degree in finance. I have my undergrad in finance. My master's is in English. And so it wasn't for me. Finance was just so not for me. It was so boring. It's interesting to invest and, learn the market, but it's just not my passion. So I became an English teacher because language is always something that has interested me. Other cultures is always something that has interested me. I grew up in Los Angeles where there's like cultures from all over the world, languages, everything. My parents are multicultural, different. My mom is from another country. I grew up listening to 3 languages being spoken in my mother's house and 2 or 3 languages in my mother's family and then my father's family. So, it's always been something in me. And, being an English teacher or an ESL teacher, it's what allowed me the opportunity to meet people on an international level, to have that contact with people from other countries, which is what I really wanted. Let's see. Okay. What's the best thing you like about teaching? There's a few things. One is, seeing people's excitement and joy when they learn something new with English. Seeing how people's lives are being impacted. Something as simple as learning a language can actually change a person's life. There are so many immigrants that live in the United States that don't speak English. And speaking English is something that would, open the doors of opportunity for them. It would allow them to feel more comfortable being in the country. It really changes someone's life. Not only that, I've heard stories of people who have come here on scholarships for free because they speak English. I know people whose lives have changed because they speak English. They've been able to travel out of their country, which may not have as many opportunities, and go to a country that has more opportunities, especially women. I've seen Brazilian women leave Brazil and go to the UK and have a business and, teach English, do things that otherwise would be impossible if they did not speak English. All right. Let's see. If someone wants to be a teacher in the future, what advice would you give them? I would say don't do it for the money, one, because teaching can really burn people out if they don't have the heart to teach. You have to really have a heart to teach people because you have to be patient. You have to, really, it needs to be something that you love and are passionate about. I would just say, give it a chance and just see how you feel about it. There's a lot of different things you can do with teaching. It's super versatile. You don't have to do the same thing all the time. I think that's one of the things that I love so much about teaching English, especially the day and age that we live in now. We have social media. It's always interesting and fun. So, use social media. How can a person learning English overcome shyness? Well, in my opinion, that comes with practice and doing. So unless you do and practice, I don't think you're going to overcome it. You have to use the language, become comfortable with the language, And once you become comfortable and confident, then you will overcome your shyness. But becoming confident and comfortable comes with using. You have to use the language. Okay. How can social media assist with people to learn English? Well, there's so much free material online. It's crazy. You can learn a language and become fluent without ever going to a country that speaks your target language. I am a living example. I learned to speak Portuguese fluently, even with the accent. And I've never been to Brazil. I've never been to Portugal. I've never been to Angola. Nothing. And I am fluent. So, social media is an amazing tool for learning to speak English. I think out of all of the languages, English is probably like the language that has the most abundant amount of resources online. So social media is tremendous when it comes to learning English. You can watch YouTube videos, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, it's endless. It really is. What type of video have you always wanted to make but you haven't attempted to do? Well, okay, so like you, I want to interview people. I have students from other countries that I would love to interview that could speak in that language to share with others like tips. What are some difficulties or challenges that you've experienced within your language? What are some barriers that you've been able to overcome? And what are some things that you can share with people, on how they can do the same? And I think every language has different difficulties. For most languages, it's the TH sound. This TH. Well, for Arabic speakers, they don't have that problem. They have a TH, but they don't have the letter P. So then that's an issue, So these types of things. This is a kind of video that one day. How would you describe Teacher Will? Teacher Will is very caring. In my opinion, I think he's very caring. You're very caring. I can see in a lot of things that you do with the way that you communicate with people that you are a caring person. You're also outgoing, like you're fun. You like to joke, these things. You're outgoing, caring, funny. Okay, last question. What does the word insight mean to you? To me, the word insight means to understand, to have an understanding about something, a deeper understanding, not just understanding a concept, but, an understanding that reaches deeper than average, goes to the heart. So if I was going to quickly describe insight, that's what I would describe it or define it as. So those are the questions. Thank you, Will, for inviting me on this project. I wish the best to you, and in the future, we should definitely work together on different things.